What's up, homies? Welcome back to another episode of Heroes Reforged Reads a Comic Book. This is a very special episode because we're talking about one of the best characters of all time in all of fiction, Invincible. When he meets another all-time greatest character in fiction, Spider-Man. That's right, we're talking about Marvel Team Up issue number 14. This is a tie-in to the Invincible shared universe. It's also written by Robert Kirkman, and it's drawn by Cory Walker, the other co-creator of the Invincible book, the guy who did the first handful of issues. So it really feels like Invincible. This is a Marvel comic book, and it's a really cool deal because Marvel let writer Robert Kirkman, because he was writing the series Marvel Team Up, bring over his creator-owned character from Image, Skybound, from those comics, into a story right in the middle of his Marvel Team Up run. So if you are just joining us and you have not ever seen one of these videos where we review the Invincible comic book, I've read the series before. Augustine's read the series before. Adam has never read it. I've read this issue before. Augustine, have you read this issue before?
No, this was my first time. I didn't even know it existed before this.
What?
So I wouldn't have known without you, Hector, so thank you for that.
We're covering every major volume of Invincible, the series. Here's volume 7, Three's Company, and it's important, and we'll get to that in a second. But we're also covering all of the tie-in issues and sort of world-building books like Tech Jacket and Brit and Capes and all this other stuff. And we also have another really cool announcement that we can tell you about right now. If you like Invincible, if you're excited about the new show, then you will not want to miss the upcoming Creator Fest Skybound Expo that is happening Friday, February 19th, because we're going to be there. We're going to be there at 10:15 a.m., which is awesome. Okay, Skybound asked for us to... I'm also going to be hosting it, but they asked for us to come and talk about hashtag Invincible Friday and talk about the upcoming Amazon Prime series, and it's going to be dope. We are super, super stoked about it. We're as stoked for that show as we are probably for, like, the Book of Boba Fett, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Superman and Lois in the case of Adam. We're stoked for a lot
Don't forget the Mighty Ducks.
Don't forget the Mighty
Come
Ducks.
on, man.
Coming out to Disney Plus. But we're super stoked to be able to share our passion for this book. I'm excited because we're 7 volumes of the main series in, and Adam is hooked. He's in.
I've been in there since the first 3 pages of it, volume 1.
I love this series. It's my favorite comic book series of all time, and I know Augustine loves it as well. I'm stoked because I get to ask Augustine right now, dude, what did you think of the crossover? Overall thoughts of the Spider-Man?
Let's get into
Marvel
it. So
Team
this
Up. Marvel
this
Team
crossover was way cool. I really appreciate when stuff like this happens because it crosses over with a character that's so near and dear to everybody's heart, and I feel like Mark can be that kind of character as well. So the crossover, I thought, was short but sweet. It hit all the right spots. It had comedic moments. It let Spider-Man beat Spider-Man, and it let Mark be Mark in a new environment in which he had no idea what it was about, but also kind of knew what it was all about and wasn't weirded out when he got to meet the Avengers, which was really cool.
Spider-Man's telling him, like, these guys are a big deal, so you have to act impressed. And he comes from a superhero world. You know, his dad was sort of the Superman of that world, so he's like, okay, I'll try, sure thing. And he kind of was, but he was just nice. He was nice to MJ and Aunt May, thinking they were the Avengers. Like,
not just that, he was nice to Doc Ock when he knocked him over. You know, like he was just a nice guy.
Okay?
You okay? Hope you have superpowers. Yeah. I think it was a really well done crossover though, and I really appreciate how, because I paid attention to the details of when in the Invincible timeline. In the comic book, when he comes out of the portal, he's got Spider-Man's web coming out behind him. It makes you wonder, like, what is going on? Like, Spider-Man doesn't just randomly shoot his webs. He was shooting at Mark for some reason. And that made me curious as to why Spider-Man was shooting his web at Mark. And so it just brought you into this whole series. Luckily, it was a lot of fun. I'm really glad I read it. And it just adds that little bit of spice that all these extra, these tie-ins have been adding, which is just... it just deepens your love for this entire series of Invincible.
Short but sweet is a great way to put it. I'm not going to lie. I think I was feeling that too with this, like how brisk of a read it is, this one issue. And I got to the end and I was like, man, I kind of wish Invincible was in this whole volume and stuck around in the Marvel Universe for like a couple weeks. Like I want to see, I want to see what he would do in there more. There's one other thing I want to mention before I ask Adam what he thought, because just to provide some context, I remember when I was rereading this that I thought that I read it first, before the storyline where Angstrom Levy, the villain in Invincible, shows up and he uses his portals and he uses his his powers to send Mark to all these dimensions. And I went back and I looked up when these comics came out, and according to the publication date, the internet, and sometimes that's a little off or whatever, Marvel Team Up that Robert Kirkman was working on came out in January of 2006. And the issue where he deals with 2006. The issue where he deals with Angstrom Levy, which is issue number 33, is the one in question. That's 33 is the one where like he gets sent to all the different dimensions, including seeing Batman in one of them, like a zombie universe, which is maybe the Walking Dead universe, a talking dinosaur universe. Anyway, that issue came out June of 2006. So I read the Spider-Man thing first. And I was
interesting.
I was like, what? Okay. Who? Like, what is Mark talking about? What's happening? I'm just getting thrown into this adventure. He started crying in front of Spider-Man.
Yeah. He opened
which
up
is
real
like
quick.
Very vulnerable. I love Mark for this vulnerability. But then months later, I read the story that actually provided that context, and I was like, of course he's crying. We all felt it. That danger that his mom was put in is like, up to this point in the series, it's just maybe the most. Like, I don't know. It's the most intense that the most intensity that Mark's been involved in, other than when he was fighting his dad, maybe to the death. Like, that whole storyline aside. But that's sort of the context. And I remember having that Marvel side first and thinking it was really, really cool the way it just like locked into place into the Invincible storyline as a framing device. Adam, what were your overall thoughts on this one issue, man?
It was super fun. I think short and sweet was probably the best way to put it. It gave me everything that I was kind of like hoping and expecting from a crossover with a character like Spider-Man. I want it to be fast. I want it to be quippy. I want them to really like play off of each other really, really well. I love, and I don't know with how much intention this was done, probably a lot. I love the fact that when you meet Aunt May and Mary Jane, that MJ looks a little bit like Adam Eve. Just a little bit. A little. You're right. I'm like, is he gonna take? Is Peter gonna take his mask off and he's gonna look like Rex Splode? Is that what's gonna happen here? So I thought
that would be awesome.
I thought for all those reasons it was really fun, and I think the fact that you got to go to Avengers Tower and meet the Avengers, I kept waiting because they kept like, oh, you're gonna meet the Avengers, and you have to like turn the page. Oh yeah, they're over here, and you gotta turn the page or next panel or whatever. And he's like, oh, they're right behind you. I'm like, am I gonna like go to the next panel and it's gonna be like the end of the issue? Thankfully not. You know, you got to see Cap, Wolverine, Iron Man. There were some really cool moments, and I was like, yeah, this is actually like really cool that we were able to show so many different Avengers characters just in that one or two panels. So I thought that was really fun, and I think the thing that's fun about it is it's kind of a nice pause from the world of Invincible to go into a Marvel comic book universe, and he can kind of make fun of Spider-Man's name while also referencing a DC character, which I'm this is great. This is just tapping into that like triangle of things that like I love about all these characters in these worlds. So it was very satisfying, and again, I love any opportunity, and this like really has nothing to do with the main storyline at all. Yeah, it's like it is a what's the word I'm looking for? It's basically like
a side quest.
Yeah, it's like a side quest, but it's also the result. Quest, It's the result of Mark's own personal trauma and journey that he's going through. But it was kind of nice to have this like levity come out of it, where it's just like him and Spider-Man, they're having fun, and yeah, so I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun, and it is a really fast read, but it's really great.
Yeah. The moment totally that Adam was referencing is where Mark learns that this character's name is Spider-Man. He goes, wait. Your powers are like spider-based, and you call yourself Spider-Man. Isn't that kind of lazy?
Yeah.
And he goes, that would be like, okay, I have superpowers, so I'll call myself Superman. Isn't that just lazy? And then you're like, dang, dude, that's harsh.
And by the end of the issue, Peter's like, maybe my name is lame.
Yeah, exactly.
And the really funny thing is you go back to the Invincible issue number 33, and after Mark has been kind of beat up a little bit more, and he's going through the different universes, he pauses on one where this guy is definitely Batman with this gauntlet shape and the red sky of Gotham City, and he goes, wait, so your name is, you dress like a bat, and your name is never mind, I already had this conversation today. Like, it's such a great joke.
Yep, that's a good. Then you'll only get it if you read the Spider-Man tie-in.
Right.
It's fantastic.
And I also think that kind of stuff, I also think that the fact that Robert Kirkman is not just like a guest writer on this book, or a guy who let his character be written by somebody else. He was a writer who was working on Marvel Team Up, and he clearly loves Marvel Comics, obviously, even when you read Invincible. And if you have never read any of Robert Kirkman's other superhero work, like Marvel Zombies, Ultimate X-Men, stuff he was working on for these other companies and Marvel specifically, you could still tell he loves superheroes by reading Invincible. But when you're reading his Marvel Team Up book, and just to give you a little bit of context, this is Volume 3, League of Losers. And I'm not going to lie, the rest of the book that has no Invincible in it, but just a bunch of other like loser Avenger characters, like these guys on the back. Do you recognize any of them? They're pretty obscure. Darkhawk, anyone? Robert Kirkman does a good job writing those shitty characters because he loves those rejected, sort of not as popular characters. And I love them too. But the other 2 volumes leading up to this book is Robert Kirkman writing Marvel Team Up, where Spidey in the first issue teams up with, oh my God, I think it's Wolverine. And in the second issue, Spidey teams up with somebody else, and like Iron Man comes in, and then Doctor Doom. And in fact, that series is the one where, it's a fun little fact, the clip of the montage of the 40-Year-Old Virgin where Steve Carell is reading a comic book and laughing is an issue of Marvel Team Up written by Robert Kirkman, where it has Iron Man and Hulk on the cover, and he's just going, oh. And that was me reading that series. That's Marvel Team Up, but it has this same energy. It's like fun. It's, you know,
that was me reading this one.
It's exactly
so happy,
just like oh Mark, oh Peter.
This is everything I wanted. Yeah,
but his series is also interesting too, because just like Invincible has a definitive timeline, Marvel Team Up takes place right after the Avengers disbanded, right after Scarlet Witch killed a bunch of people and lost her mind and needed help, and then Magneto came in. So there was no Avengers at the start of Marvel Team Up, and then by the time the story kind of keeps progressing, Brian Michael Bendis rebooted the team that had Luke Cage, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Jessica Jones. So then that's the Avengers lineup we meet. So this book has a really clear spot in the Marvel chronology as well, which is really, really cool. The other thing I love about the book is at the end of it, Mark Grayson like single-handedly just destroys Dr. Octopus's arms because he has those like Goku Superman level powers where you can just be like, okay, you know what, this is done, and just like stop, like just breaks them, and then you know, and that's the end of that. And I thought that was a really great. The rest of the Avengers were willing to go help with Dr. Octopus, and Spidey's like, no, me and this kid got it. It's fine. You guys can do the cosmic stuff.
Maybe we should have taken the Quinjet to get here. It's actually kind of far.
Can we fly? Oh, the other funny thing is that when Spidey webs up a harness, the Marvel Team Up series leading up to that, there's lots of instances where characters are getting armpitted, like flyers are flying.
It's like the ultimate form of disrespect when you pick somebody up.
So Spidey had commented on that in the book earlier. So he finally comes up with the solution when he meets Invincible, and he's like, okay, just let me go. Okay, catch me. Grab me by the thing. And it's this cool little backpack harness that he's like...
But he still gets armpitted at first.
Anyway, it's really great. I'm going to finish reading the Marvel Team Up series because there's only one other volume after this. There's only volume 4, and then it ends. Yeah. I really like it. But going back to the main Invincible series, like you said, Adam, it's not essential reading, but I think that it's really cool to read that little side quest after everything with Angstrom Levy gets resolved, just to once again get in the headspace of Mark, because I think maybe the most important part of the issue is the fact that he does break down and cry right in front of Spider-Man. And I remember again reading it in January, and I'm like, this feels like it's not like a typical superhero team up, because Mark is not a typical superhero. Robert Kirkman is taking a lot of care to write him with a lot of respect and understanding and empathy and realism. And you go back to the Invincible book and like what he's gone through, and you're like, yeah, dude, I would be crying too. Like the fact that he has to just putter around in one of these dimensions until Angstrom Levy grabs him or throws up the other portal, like
while he's torturing your mom, like, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's brutal. It's brutal.
It's great. Well, I'm glad you guys really liked that issue.
It was good.
It was fun.
I think we can also announce, too, if you guys have been watching this series every week that we've been putting these out, we're going to pump the brakes a little bit, take a little bit of a pause on the Invincible comic book podcast, the weekly book. We're going to get back to reading the rest of the series soon, but for now, like I mentioned earlier, we got a bunch of stuff coming out. We got the Invincible series that we're going to be doing a reaction series to. We're finishing up WandaVision. We got Falcon and Winter Soldier coming out. We got Superman and Lois. So we're going to focus on some of that stuff. and maybe hit you guys.
Why do you
with
always
some
forget the
other-
Mighty Ducks, Hector?
The Mighty Ducks. But how long ago? Maybe a month ago, we did the Vision comic video.
Yeah.
Augustine
Yeah.
and I, we may do more stuff like that in the future, especially depending on what these new sort of shows are showing us and divulging and revealing and everything. So maybe look for some of that, maybe those little special one-offs. In the meantime, join our Discord because conversations about Invincible are about to ramp the F up. Adam, you want to tell everybody about the Patreon, what we're doing over there?
All the uncut reactions are available on our Patreon. So we do a cut down for YouTube, and everything that's uncut goes straight to Patreon. We've done it for Mando. We've been doing it for WandaVision, for every other show that we're going to be doing, including Invincible. So if you want to check that out, we're also doing monthly Q&As, monthly watch-alongs with the community. You can go to patreon.com/heroesreforged and join the community. It's been a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun growing that community and doing fun stuff with everybody.
Augustine, favorite moment from any of the Invincible comics we've read so far?
Oh, man. How are you going to spring that one on me?
No pressure, bro.
I'm still going to say the short but sweet introduction to Battle Beast because he's coming. And you don't even know.
That's
but he's
true.
coming. It's good.
Excellent
It's
point.
good.
Excellent
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Adam, what about you? Favorite thing so far that we've read? Favorite
Oh
moment?
my God. Can I just say everything?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
so
you can.
good.
You can,
It's
because
so
it's
good and
good.
engaging.
It's the best comic in the universe.
It's really good.
I think my favorite moment still might be I'd still have you, Dad. I'd still have you, Dad. Oof. We're still feeling that. We're still feeling that in the book today. We're I don't know how many volumes beyond what that moment was, but
Why you got to get so real, Hector? Dang.
it's real.
I was
I
having
got
a good day.
goosebumps when you brought that up.
Can I be real, son? Can I be real, son?
Be real, son.
His father tried to kill him.
They helped me try to kill his son.
Tried to kill his son. Chappelle Show. It's great. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you soon with more comic book stuff. We will see you soon with more TV show, series, reaction stuff. And until next time, bye. Keep reading comics. Bye.
Bye.